feel like I have to hiccup. Whoa, that was good. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about a drugstore makeup starter kit. So the last one of these videos I did was 2015. This is kind of like an updated version. So what I recommend if you're in the drugstore, you have no idea where to start, you're overwhelmed, I get it. There's a lot of things in there. Last week I did what's in my everyday makeup drawer, so some of these products are the same because they're things I consistently reach for and use and recommend. This is kind of geared more towards beginners or if you're just not super familiar with the drugstore, but also if you just need some new drugstore makeup ideas. Here we go. So if you're excited for this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, you can join the Bayrito family and subscribe. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. When you guys are seeing this video, I'm actually either in Chicago or I'm moving. This month is like freaking insane. So every video is majorly pre-recorded right now so I can still get my 3 a week up. All right, so whether you're a beginner at makeup or not, I am a strong believer in a good setting spray. Any kind of facial spray to either prime your face, prep your face, set your makeup. I'm a big fan of setting sprays. I don't necessarily just use it for longevity, but I also just feel like setting sprays or any kind of facial mist can just prep your skin so nicely and just make your foundation and everything and your powders kind of melt together. One of my favorite drugstore makeup prep sprays, like you would spray this on before you start anything on your face. After you wash your face, spray this on. This is the Pixi Hydrating Milky Mist. So you can get this at Target. If you have dry skin, I would recommend this. So this one's a good hydrating option. If you have large pores that you need to fill in, my recommendation, whether it's high-end or drugstore, this is the best pore filling primer I've ever found. I'm wearing it right now. This is the Revlon Photoready Pore Reducing Primer. This one does magic for pores. So many of you guys have tried this and tweeted me saying that it's worked wonders for you, and that makes me really happy because I do feel like this is one of the few truly pore filling primers out there. I like this better than Benefit Professional. I like it better than a lot of high-end ones I've tried. This one is bomb, and it's from the Drugstore by Revlon. And what you do with this is after you spray this on or after you prep your skin with moisturizer, I just put a little bit on my fingers and kind of just press it into my pore area and make sure it's nice and blended out, and it's very like smooth and silky feeling, so it kind of just melts into your skin. All right, so I do a series on my channel every single Friday called Foundation Friday where I test out foundations. So I have tons of foundation reviews on drugstore foundations. So if you're in the drugstore and you're curious, you can just search the tail end the name of any drugstore any foundation in general, and a video should come up if I have a video on it. So I need to do a whole other favorite drugstore foundation video, but I just wanted to choose 3, which is a little excessive in this video, but for different reasons, mostly because I couldn't nail it down. Foundation is so tricky to recommend just like blanket statement to everybody because everyone has different skin issues. People like different kinds of coverage, finishes. Whether you have oily skin or dry skin, foundations are going to wear differently on you. So right now my skin is more on the dry side. So these foundations are based on my skin right now. I had oily skin for years, so if you want to know my favorite oily skin foundations, I just did a Foundation Friday on it. But this foundation is definitely my top. Like, this is my go-to #1 drugstore foundation. CYO Long Lasting Life Proof Foundation. This is such a beautiful, dewy, glowy, smoothing, just makes your skin not look super makeup-y. I'm wearing it right now. I have the shade 101 mixed in with a tiny bit of 102. But the thing I also like about this is that you really can kind of make it work for whatever you're looking for. If you want more full coverage, you can build this up. It covers my scarring pretty dang well. If you want lighter coverage, just use less product and only go in with 1 layer. You can kind of customize this to how you want it. And it's just an all-over gorgeous foundation. This is one of my favorites, drugstore and high-end. It's bomb. It's like $7 or $6 from Walgreens. You can only get this on Walgreens. Some stores carry it, but it's been sold out a lot on Walgreens.com, so I'll link everything I'm talking about down below. This next one I would recommend if the thought of like a liquid foundation just totally terrifies you. I remember when I first started wearing makeup, there was something about a liquid foundation that was like, whoa, too much makeup, intense. Then I would recommend the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Foundation. This is such a beautiful foundation. Again, it's more glowy. You can build up the coverage, but this is something that's just so quick because a cushion foundation, they already give you the applicator in here. You just do a little of that action and then kind of dab it on your face. The sponge dries up pretty quick, so make sure you take it out and flip it over because you're gonna get a ton more product in there. But I feel like this could be a good beginner foundation. It's super affordable, pretty easy to work with. And then the other one is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion. These are all dewier foundations, so again, oily skin, check out that video. But this one I have a whole video on, not going to go super in depth about it, but this one I found during the last 15 days of foundation series. Beautiful foundation. The only thing I don't like about this is the shade. I can't wear the shade on its own, so I always have to mix this one. Glowy, smooth, flawless, great. So concealer I wanted to give 2 different options, mostly because I feel like a lot of people probably won't be able to find their shade in this one. I do have to mix this one. This is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Full Coverage Concealer. Beautiful concealer if you have drier under eyes or you like just a more moisturizing concealer that isn't too creamy and it's not going to crease. It's also great for spot concealing. If I'm just using this on no makeup kind of days and I just want to kind of cover up some of my acne scarring and stuff, I'll just go in with this. This one's just kind of like an easy, no fuss kind of concealer. I would still set it though, still set your under eye concealer with powder. I also love the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. They just recently launched a lot more shades of this concealer. It reminds me a little bit of this, but this one, there's something so like smooth and velvety about the formula of this. One of my all-time favorite drugstore face powders is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. This powder is beautiful. It gives you some coverage. When I had oily skin, this made my face look so smooth and so almost like airbrush, depending on what foundation obviously you wear underneath it. The shade 05 is actually pretty light, so it's hard to find a drugstore powder or any powder that is fair enough. I have two bronzers I want to mention. The first one, you guys can probably all guess, the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. The thing I think is great about this for beginners is that it's a very no fuss, easy to work with kind of formula. It just blends into your skin. You don't really have to worry about doing a whole lot of working with the brush or getting too much product on here. I use the shade Bronzer. The lighter one looks orangey, so I like this shade. My other one, which I'm wearing today, I'm wearing a lot of this on my face today, by the way. Did I say I'm wearing the CYO? Yeah. Wearing the CYO foundation. This other one I recently whipped back out again because this used to be one of my favorites like years ago, I'm pretty sure. I forgot how freaking beautiful the tone of this bronzer is. This is the MUA Bronze Perfection Matte. You get MUA at CVS. Ulta might also carry this online, but it's just the perfect tone. It doesn't look too dark. It doesn't look too orangey on my skin tone. It's almost like kind of a milky chocolate brown, and you get a huge freaking pan. I mean, look at that thing. And then for blush, my top drugstore recommendation for blush is the Physicians Formula Butter Blush. Same kind of thing as the bronzer, just super easy to work with formula. I'm wearing the shade Vintage Rouge right now on my face. I have, I think, all of their blush shades in this, and I kind of just switch between them all. They're all super pretty. They all can work on my skin tone. I was kind of debating whether I should mention contour products in this video because I feel like if this is like a starter kit and you're kind of more of a beginner, you probably won't be contouring, but maybe you want to. So if you want a little bit of contour in your life, it totally depends with your skin tone. But if you're around my skin tone, my two top from the drugstore are the e.l.f. Eyebrow Kit in Light. This is an eyebrow powder. I mentioned this in my everyday makeup video, but the shade right here, or the LA Girl Just Blushing. This one is a really nice cool tone shade. This is in Just Because. I love the packaging about this. It just reminds me of like a little chocolate bar or something. This shade, if you use too heavy of a hand, can look very gray. So you just have to be careful with this. Just get a tiny amount on your brush. This one I would say is a little bit more foolproof. Pretty sure I mentioned this one in my last two drugstore makeup starter kit videos, but I have to mention it because it's one of my all-time favorite products. Physicians Formula Natural Nude Shimmer Brick. Such a freaking beautiful face highlight. It doesn't look super textured. Face highlights you can use on your cheekbones right here. You can use it on your nose. You could use a little bit on your forehead if you want to glow. You could use this as eyeshadow as well. These ones can be eyeshadows. I mean, any highlights I use kind of interchangeably as eyeshadows too. I like this too because it can be used obviously on a variety of different skin tones. And then my other one, which I have to mention because you guys know this is one of my all-time favorite drugstore highlighters. So this one I would say is if you want an intense highlight. Like if you just want this kind of highlight, it's what I'm wearing right now. This is the J-Cat You Glow Girl in Bella Rose. The other shades of this highlight, the J-Cat one, I'm not a fan of, but Bella Rose is different. It's not as like glittery or chunky. You get this just super pretty, intense kind of light pinky sheen. Eyeshadow palettes, I just did a video on my favorite eyeshadow palettes under 20 bucks. So a lot of those products were drugstore. So if you want to know just more in depth about different eyeshadow palettes I recommend, and then you can kind of choose what you want based on the colors and everything, check out that video. I feel like I have to hiccup. Whoa, that was good. But the reason that I picked this one, this is the Monney Bold Obsessions palette. This one is a little bit pricier for the drugstore. It's around 20 bucks. You can get it at Walmart for 15 bucks. But there are 12 shades in here. This one has a good mix of some matte shades, shimmer shades. If you only want to buy one eyeshadow palette, you're starting out, you just want to kind of play around with eyeshadows, I think this could be a really good option because you have some smokier colors in here, you have some neutral ones, you have some shimmers, some mattes. You can do a lot of different looks with this. I'm wearing this on my eyes right now. I'm wearing this red shade. I'm wearing this one right here. And it's the kind of palette where whenever I do it, I find that I somehow can do a totally different look with it, even though you wouldn't think so just by looking at it. So this is what I would recommend for starters. If you want a more affordable option, Wet n Wild makes some great palettes around $4.99, and I talked about those in that video. Can we guess this one? Physicians Formula Eye Booster in Ultra Black. This is my favorite liquid eyeliner from the drugstore / ever. This is what I use every single day of my life. Wearing it right now. Glides on easy. If you have trouble doing a winged liner, try this one out. It has a really unique kind of brush to it. It's not felt. It just like glides on so easy. And this is the easiest liner I found to get a wing with. What I used to do when I started out with makeup was at night before I would shower, I would just practice doing a wing, because even if it looks totally shitty, you just wash it off and get in the shower. Just make sure you're getting the ultra black shade. Big difference between the ultra black and the black shade. The black shade is like gray. This makeup room is like mostly packed, so a couple of the items that I wanted to mention in this video were actually packed up. But for a super easy brow product, if you're not someone who wants to or feels like you can use something like this, which is my everyday one that I use with a brush to kind of draw on my brows, if that just seems like too much work and too overwhelming, this by the way is the Maybelline Tattoo Studio, it's awesome, and you just want a brow gel that's just gonna like fill in your brows, I would go in with the Ulta Brow Gel. I love the Ulta Brow Gel. I've used it for years. It was recently in my empties video. I'm gonna link it down below. For a waterline eyeliner, or just using, if you want not a liquid liner but you just want to kind of smudge eyeliner on your top lash line, you can use the LA Girl Glide Gel Liner. This is a couple bucks. Pretty sure this was in the last 2 drugstore starter kit videos because this has been my favorite one for years. It stays on my waterline. It's super black. It doesn't bleed into my inner corner or anything. It's just a great all-around affordable option for eyeliner. All right, so lip products, if you just want to start out super basic and you want a gloss that has a little bit of color to it, but that's not super sticky and just doesn't feel super high maintenance, but you want a little bit of something on your lips, I would go with the L'Oreal color, what is this called? I think it's the Color Reach. It's in the shade Nude Ballet, this one I have, but these feel so nice and smooth and buttery. I talked about these in the everyday makeup video. If you want something with a little bit more color payoff and that definitely feels like you can feel it more, but it's a really great layering option, so you can layer this on top of pretty much any nude lipstick. Maybelline Vivid Hot Lacquer in Tease is one of my all-time favorite shades. I can layer it pretty much on any nude shade and it just lightens it and it gives it more of a cool tone look, adds a little bit of a gloss, so I love this one. Liquid lipstick I feel like is not really advanced, but it just takes a tiny bit more skill than something like a lip gloss, just because you kind of have to get in the lines of your lips. But if you want a drugstore liquid lipstick, I would go with the L'Oreal Infallible Paint Mattes. This is in the shade Tongue Tied. I'm wearing it right now. This is one of my all-time favorite matte shades. For those of you who have seen a bunch of my videos, this is probably going to be like the most repetitive video on planet Earth. So this I don't think I've mentioned, but I've been trying out for a while now since this collection launched, and I think it could be a cool thing for beginners only because, let me show what it is first. So this is a white lip gloss. This is actually the Katy Perry CoverGirl collection. The formula of this is okay. It's pretty sticky, but the thing I like about this is that it is just a straight up, it's a white lip gloss. So what's cool is you can lighten or adjust pretty much any lipstick or liquid lipstick or lip gloss shade to whatever you're feeling. So if you're someone who's just starting out with makeup and you don't have or want 20 shades of lipstick and you just want to be able to kind of adjust and work with what you have, this could be a good option just to change the shade basically. My go-to mascara for probably the last couple years is not a drugstore one, it's the Too Faced Better Than Sex. But before that, one of my go-tos was the Maybelline Falsies mascara. Again, all of my mascara bin is totally packed, so I don't have that one to show you. But for bottom lashes, I love the Wet n Wild Mega Length. It's a really nice separating, lengthening kind of bottom lash mascara that's not going to transfer. If you're kind of just curious and dabbling in the false lash world, I have a couple options here for you from the drugstore. These ones I would say are probably the easiest out of any false lash I've tried to use as a beginner. These are the Eyelure Accents 005. The reason why these are the easiest are because they're corner lashes, so they're not going to go, if you look at this lash, it goes like pretty far in, and you can obviously trim down lashes depending on where you want it to start and stop, but corner lashes are great because they basically just kind of start about here, so you don't really have to worry about exactly placing it in the right spot. It doesn't slide around as much. They're just overall easier to work with. These ones give you a really pretty kind of like cat eye look too. If you do want something a little bit more dramatic, I would go with the Kiss Lash Couture in Boudoir. I still can't say this word even after the video where I talked about pronunciation of this word. They're going to be linked down below. But these lashes are so nice and fluffy. The Kiss Lash Couture Faux Mink line are, in my opinion, one of the better drugstore lash lines out there because they're super fluffy, but the band isn't super thick. This is just like if you want to take it the next level, but you still want something not super, super dramatic. These look kind of fluffier and wispier. If you need a lash glue, which you do, don't use any of the lash glues that come in strip lash things, usually pretty shitty. Use the Kiss strip lash adhesive. This is the lash glue I use. Make sure you let these dry for about 45 seconds at least to really get it sticky before you plop it on your eyes, or they're just gonna slide around. And the last kind of product category from the drugstore is setting spray, and that's what you would spray after you finish your entire face. I like using setting sprays even if I'm not wearing a foundation that day, just to kind of give my face a glow, make it look a little bit more healthy. But if you are wearing foundation, then I would definitely suggest a setting spray, again, just to kind of melt everything together. Setting sprays are packed right now. The only ones I have out right now are these two, which are both high-end, but these are my most used setting sprays. If I was going to recommend drugstore ones though, I would say one of my favorites is the Hard Candy Black Bottle Setting Spray or the L'Oreal Black Bottle Setting Spray. So I'll have both of those down below if you want to check them out. That's what I would recommend if you're starting out at the drugstore. Of course, you don't need all of this. If you are just totally overwhelmed with makeup, just start slow, figure out what you like. You don't need to wear all of this. If you're not a foundation person and the thought of having stuff on your face all the time freaks you out, just try a little bit of spot concealer, a little bit of blush. But makeup is fun. Don't be afraid of it. And I feel like it is very easy to get kind of overwhelmed in the drugstore or any makeup store because there's so much stuff, and when you don't know brands and you don't know products, it's like starting from scratch. Is almost how I feel when I was in Europe and I was going in the drugstore. I had no idea what brand was what products were known for what, and it's really hard to actually narrow down and pick something out that's not gonna be shitty. So I totally get the feeling. If you want to follow along with Chicago and moving and everything, then make sure you're following me on social media, Instagram, Snapchat. My Snapchat is the Taylor Snaps. It's not the Taylor, but everything else is the Taylor. If you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up. It does help me out. I appreciate it. And I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye. Ooh, my back just cracked.